I invite those of you in the back to please come. There are some seats here. Come and grab a seat. We have a full house, and the sun is shining, and there is just such a feeling of vibrancy and dynamism in this room. What a thrill to be here this morning. My name's Elizabeth Quiche. I'm the warden of Rhodes House, and I am so honored and delighted to welcome all of you here for our inaugural Said Rhodes Symposium on Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine. You know, about a decade ago, the Rhodes Scholarship, which is the oldest postgraduate international fellowship, began a very important journey beyond our roots in the British Empire and a vision of the world grounded in that empire, to become a scholarship that is available to students from every corner of the world. And we have been extraordinarily privileged to share that journey with amazing leaders and philanthropists and benefactors from many parts of the world. We are deeply grateful for the support of the Said Foundation and thrilled to welcome trustees of the Said Foundation this morning, who made it possible for us in 2016 to launch the Rhodes Scholarship in Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine, building on your nearly 4 decades of extraordinary educational philanthropy and investment in talent development in this critical region of the world. And so partnering with the Said Foundation and with our amazing group of Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine scholars, we have pulled this inaugural event together. I want to thank, we will do more capacious thanks tomorrow as we close the forum, but I did want to say that our scholar organizing committee has done absolutely extraordinary work pulling this forum together, and I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. I know that they have very busy lives, and this has been work on top of that. You will find their names and photos and bios in the book, and I encourage you to thank them personally when you see them over the course of the forum. I also want to thank our SJLP advisory board, which has played such an important role in connecting us to this extraordinary range of leaders from the region, people of different generations, especially sort of young generation that is looking at how, in the midst of so many challenges in this region, we promote education and culture and economic development and health, and invest in the leadership and talent that will move societies and communities forward. So I'm deeply grateful to our organizing committee, deeply grateful to the advisory board, and to the Said Foundation for partnering with us. As always, I thank my amazing colleagues here at Rhodes House, our events team, and the front of house team for bringing us together and organizing this event. You know, we are all about building bridges across disciplines and across all the boundaries that divide us in the world today, boundaries that seem to be getting higher and more troubling by the day. And so I am really excited that we have with us an absolutely amazing group of hopeful, inspiring speakers and leaders who are making a difference. And I know we will all learn so much from them. I invite us all to come to these conversations with open minds and open hearts, with curiosity, with respect, with a willingness to debate in a spirit of friendship. And I know that we will all be learning so much from each other, and that I hope the seeds planted in these conversations, in these sessions, will lead to even more positive change and build a network across the region and around the world. So thank you all for being here. And now it is my great pleasure to welcome up to the stage a member of our scholar organizing committee, one of our Rhodes Scholars from SJLP constituency, Dr. Baha Atala.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Is this thing on? Yeah, it is. Thank you, Elizabeth, and welcome everyone to the inaugural Said Rhodes Forum on Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, and Palestine, SJLP. I was given this task of welcoming everyone here and doing the introductory remarks just a few days ago. And I was thinking to myself, well, I have no idea how to do this. So 1 a.m. yesterday, or today, I was sitting there and I was thinking, there's two ways of doing this. The first way is just going diplomatic, saying the things that people need to hear about the program, and just go through the sessions, go through the speakers, and what we're expecting to do, and just basically mention what we're doing, and be forgotten after a few days. And the second way of doing it is doing the things that I usually enjoy, which is telling people things that make them feel uncomfortable. So brace yourselves, here it goes. 10 or 11 years ago, I was doing the most common things that you would have seen me do in the past 10 years or during my life, which is taking exams. So I was taking another exam. I was like an 11th grade student at a local school in Gaza City. It was an Arabic language exam, boring, stupid, as always. And we finished around 11:20, something like that. And me and my colleague just went out of the classrooms and just gathered outside of the school. And we started doing this discussion about what's the right answer, what is the wrong answer, who is smarter than who, and of course it was me. But, and we also had these typical teenager conversations about how miserable our lives are. And suddenly, we hear something that is very common to hear in Gaza, which is bombing. So the city was being bombarded. And we looked at each other and said, okay, that's one of those days again. And as the seconds went by, it was like 220 seconds. It was the first attack on Gaza Strip 2008. And as the seconds went by, we started to realize, well, it's not one of those days. It's something else. And we started to wonder, like, what is going on? And we started to see people just rushing and running, and you can see everything that changes there. So we started to rush out and walk towards the main street just to find a vehicle to go home. And as we were just rushing out, everything slowed down. And you can see people running, phone calls. It's something that you're not used to, even in a place like Gaza. It's something that is beyond the threshold that you're used to. And I remember this scene vividly because the school or the area that we were in was uphill. And you can see, like, you have a window to the eastern side of the city. And Al-Shijaiya camp, Al-Tufah camp, if people are aware of the geography of Gaza. And we saw the jets just dropping death on the eastern side of the city. You can see the shrapnels flying out and the pieces of cement just flying out of the destroyed houses. And you can see the pillars of smoke coming out of the eastern side of the city. And we were just stopped there. We were lucky to find a vehicle to take us home. And I arrived home, and I remember those moments really vividly because everything was just slowing down. And the background, you hear the bombing just continuing. You hear the sirens, you hear people on the radio, etc. And I was concerned with the things that I'm usually concerned with, is what is it that I'm feeling at that moment? And I realized it's not sadness, it's not fear, it's not an anxiety, it's not anger. It was something new, something that teenager didn't experience before. And that day, I felt for the first time completely and utterly disposable. And in the next 21 days, I began to become more obsessed with this concept of being disposable. I even devised this measure of how disposable someone can be, or how disposable something can be. And I started to ask myself the questions of, are we disposable as societies? I even suggested that we start greeting ourselves with this. So instead of saying, hi, how are you? We just say, hi, how disposable are you? And this scene was reiterated over the years, over the past 10 years. And as these things happen, you start to peel those layers of meaning that happen to you. Peel those layers of how you see yourself, how you stand up to the world and understand what is happening. And I began to enter this comfort zone, being comfortable with the fact that you are not important. Be comfortable with the fact that you might be, at some point, disposable. And that was really good because I started to pay attention to the details of the ordinary life. You let go all these dreams about, oh, I want to change the world and I want to change myself, etc. But you start to pay attention to the details that happen around you. So you try, for example, to count how many times the taxi driver that takes you to the university twitches his neck when he's talking about his son who's going to be a dentist in the next few years. Or you start to see the rudeness of the employee at the scholarship office who once told me that your grades mean nothing if you don't have the right connections. You start to appreciate the anger of the old man who was so angry, one, because I was younger than him, and two, because I refused to prescribe him antibiotics to treat a viral infection. So you start to look at these things, and I started to notice how easy it is to be disposable and to be unimportant. But what surprised me also is I started to notice how easy it is also to be a hero in some sense or something, because you have all these battles to fight on a daily basis that will classify people either into losers or winners, that is designed to classify people either into disposables or into heroes. You would consider yourself a hero if you ended up with 8 hours of electricity instead of 6, or if you passed through the barrier or the checkpoint in 1 hour instead of 3. Something like that, things that are very small and little. And to me, that is exactly what I think a state of dysfunction is. It's this pseudo battles that we go on a daily basis that usually mean nothing, that do not add anything to the current reality that we live in, to the status that we live in, that do not add anything to the big picture. You're just another piece in this engine that is running. So I hope today we're going to dismantle those pseudo battles that we're living and step into something bigger, step into a vision, not for the future, but also for the present as well. How we're going to treat ourselves as people from the region, know about the region, and how we're going to move forward with this. I'm very proud that we have a list of speakers that are experts in the region, but there are also people who chose not to fight those trivial battles. They chose